Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I should have changed my battery. But it told me it had 3 bars and now it just went down to 2. Okay, here's a casserole dish. Here's what I'm trying to balance you on because I'm in a hotel. And I have limited, resources. So I'm trying to be resourceful. I guess I can take out my large tripod. I did bring it with me, but I don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? I just want to use this little tabletop one. Y'all, this might be crooked. I might have to. Hello, welcome to Evening News. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and can we make it without having to change our battery? We shall see. Stick around to find out. So we're here with a bit of mess. And no, actually not mess. I think this is a good discussion. I love discussion. You know that's hard to have, or at least a nuanced discussion, a discussion where people are all coming in good faith, difficult to have on the internet, but some people try. I do try. So this was a TikTok that came up. I can play the TikTok here, but the creator was talking about, she specifically called out like Kindle Unlimited romantasy books and saying that, people, I'm not listening to any of y'all again because y'all keep recommending terrible books. One she was specifically mentioning was Guild by, is it Raven Kennedy? Which I have not read that one. But I've heard various things about it, especially I feel like a lot of people who've read it all say like the first book is not great and then they continue going. That's always a hard sell when you have a series, but especially a longer series. I think there's 6 books out and you tell someone that you still have to get through like 500 pages of terrible and then then it gets better. Hard sell. I've never read it. So a lot of people were saying her delivery was poor, like it was very aggressive. But what she was saying was spot on, and then some people do not agree with her at all. So I don't know if I've inserted the video yet or not, but I am gonna have to change my battery. You guys, anyway, I hope you enjoy my beautiful background. As I said, I have moved, or I don't know if I've said that. I have moved. I'm in a hotel currently, so I don't have a home. I am one step closer to being reunited with my books. Well, I say one step closer. I am. Hopefully I'll have them by mid-March. But can I just tell you that when selling my house, long story short, I had to sell some stuff and get rid of some stuff. And so I only have 2 bookshelves. I only have 2 bookcases. So I'm going to have to purchase some more. And I started looking last night and I was like, let me just look at Ikea. Does Ikea know who they are anymore? Because what are these prices, honey? The same 2 of the bookshelves that I have left are from Ikea. They're not Billy, but they're like their Hemnes line. I don't know how you pronounce that. I feel like they were on the lower, they were closer to $200 per bookcase when I got them in like 2021, whenever I got them. Why are they like $349 now? Ikea, remember who you are, bitch. Anyway, let me change this battery and then we can get to my thoughts on this video.
I do not trust you little bitches on Book Talk and your stupid Kindle Unlimited book recommendations talking about this is 5 stars. This is one of the best books I've ever read. Meanwhile, when I was 12 years old, I was reading One Direction fan fiction written by someone whose first language was not English on Wattpad, and it was still better written than half of the shit I'm seeing pushed out on Book Talk. I'm gonna be the bitch and say it. Some of you need to go back to a high school level literature class because the lack of reading comprehension that I am seeing is scary. Talking about Guild or whatever the fuck it's called is a literary masterpiece. Almost as if when authors are using actual literary devices and, I don't know, nuance, not spelling things out for us like we're first graders, that I see a lot of the sentiment on social media being, it was too confusing and too convoluted. Critical thinking, babes. learn how to do it. I love a little fun romantasy vibe as much as the next girl. Like, romantasy is one of my favorite genres. However, that does not mean that it has to be poorly written. And I'm just gonna say it, not everyone should have their book published. Sorry, I'm a bitch.
Okay, I just watched the video again myself, and I mean, you may not like the delivery, but especially that ending where everyone does not deserve to have their book published. Facts. Now, this is not new conversation. I don't remember if it was 2024, 2025, might have been 2024. I definitely made a video because people then were talking about publishing becoming like fast fashion. A lot of people said they agree with that. Some people disagree. I made a video again last year. I think it was last year, that was talking about read better books. Like, that it's fine to read fun, soapy, trashy. I really don't like that term, but whatever. Books, the whole, as long as they're reading, but that we should aim to change it up. I don't remember exactly what I said. It was last year. I'll find it. I'll link it if you want to watch it. I think I might have done a follow-up, so there might be two. Here's the thing. Some of the comments were like, brought up the issue of penny dreadfuls or cheesy Western novels. Divas, Penny Dreadful. I'm reading from Wikipedia, which is a reliable source. Just in case you didn't know, they were a cheap, popular serial literature produced during the 19th century in the United Kingdom. The pejorative term is roughly interchangeable with penny horrible, penny awful, and penny blood. The term typically referred to a story published in weekly parts of 8 to 16 pages, each costing 1 penny. The subject matter of these stories was typically sensational, focusing on the exploits of detectives, criminals, or supernatural entities. First published in the 1830s, Penny Dreadfuls featured characters such as Sweeney Todd, Dick Turpin, Varney the Vampire, and Spring-Heeled Jack. Okay, a little knowledge for ya. Things that have not been, that we would also consider like trashy or soapy, have been coming out forever. Like you had your literary masterpiece, things that have turned into classics now that came out back then, but then you also had Penny Dreadfuls and just things that were quick, really accessible things to read. So I have many a thought, and I never want to seem like I'm up on some high horse. I'm not some I don't have extensive higher degrees. I'm not some literacy professional. And I don't even know if I'm the correct person to even talk about the literacy crisis, because I'm not. But I will still say my opinion. And again, opinion, so you have every right to disagree with it. That's my opinion! And I obviously would love to hear what you have to say. Just keep it cute and respectful, and we could chop it up. But you do see things and how people, you've been hearing about a literacy crisis. There's articles, there's YouTube videos. But then there have been universities coming out and saying their incoming freshman classes are not prepared for college. Teachers and people in education spaces, even K through 12, but even college. I'm obviously specifically talking about the United States because that's where I'm from. Talking about the way things have changed and how it's hard to fail a student. I'm not saying teachers should be failing a student, but students who maybe are not up to the grade level, the level of work they should be for their grade, we're falling behind, who can't read and comprehend all of these things. And it's harder now than it was when I was in school to be hey, we think this kid needs more time. They need to repeat this grade. And now at a lot of institutions, you're not allowed to do that. Or even if you recommend that, the parent is the one who gets to come in and make the final decision. And a lot of them take it kind of, I guess, personally. You're no, put my kids in the next grade, which is just pushing them back further and further. They get to the 8th grade, they're on a 4th grade reading level. That's doing nothing but a disservice to them. Also just adding extra burden to the teacher. But so I've been hearing about this for a while, incoming freshman classes at university who are not prepared. And obviously with the rise of AI and people being able to use that for writing and assignments, I've seen some teachers, some articles talking about kids don't even have to read full novels in K through 12 school anymore. And while I don't think that, like, when I was in school, we had to read a lot. We were recommended or required to read a lot of classics. I read some of them. Other ones I got spark notes, whatever. I just didn't want to read them. I don't think like the classics should be the standard. They definitely should change things up and like meet students where they are and incorporate more modern things from not just old white English people. I mean, I did have to read some Russian lit, but Russian people are still white, but I meant white people from England. Okay. God. Jesus. So then you hear all of that in like education, but then obviously I'm not in education, but you see it online with not just a random mistake here or there. People purposely or not purposely, I just don't think they know, using the wrong words, the wrong spelling out, obviously the wrong version of there. That's been a thing for a long time but people just using words wrong, like using generally when they mean genuinely, just different things like that. And again, I'm no one to sit on a high horse and be like the grammar police, because when writing, I've never been the best writer. And then also when I do write, grammar was always my weak point, but I use my resources in school, in college, for people to help me, like, proofread and clean up my writing. So I'm just trying to say, like, I don't think I'm better than anybody, but some of these things, it's like, okay, this is getting worse. Like, what's going on? And then it's like, it's a combination of all of these things. Kids getting through school, not necessarily being up to the level that they should. Some even going on to college and continuing that. A lot of people being able to use generative AI to help them with things. And now there's a lot of these people out in the world, and I'm glad that they have found books that are accessible for them to read and that they enjoy that, because I've always loved reading, and I especially love when people discover a new hobby as they're older, especially coming into reading, because even though there's a lot more readers now, I think still generally it's not, if you were looking at the average person, at least in the United States, most people don't even read a book a year. Maybe they read one. So these avid readers on the internet reading 50, 60, 150, 200 books a year. I am so pumped, whether that is ebook, physical book, audiobook, combination, graphic novels, manga. I fucking love it. I love that people are reading. It's really cool, because then that also means that authors are being supported, libraries. If you don't have a library card and you have a library in your area, get a library card, bookstores. So that makes me very happy. But it's like a thing, I don't know if she said it in this video or she did have a follow-up one.
Literary world is turning into fast fashion. For those of you commenting on my video saying, just let people enjoy things, the entire message of the video went over your head. No one is saying that you can't enjoy a purely entertaining book. God knows that I have read my fair share of those Kindle Unlimited, romantic-y, smutty books. Does that mean that they're good writing? No. And the issue is a lot of these authors are copy-pasting each other's works, dumbing down the writing style, checking tropes off of a list to appeal to the masses on BookTok. I'm not saying that authors are solely to blame for this. No one is like to blame. There's a very high demand for it. And listen, it is amazing that so many people are reading. That's not the conversation we're having here. The issue is the fast fashionification of books, watered down plots, plagiarized stories, no character development, poor writing, like the amount of times that I have found typos in books. And then you have people jumping on social media praising those works as literary masterpieces, as 6-star reads, fueling this cycle, which is also enabled by some publishers who are pushing out these works. Like someone else commented on that video and was like, I think that publishing houses need to get meaner. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't read for enjoyment. Of course, reading is meant to be enjoyable. I love reading. I love the escapism. Who doesn't? If my last video offended you and you're one of those people saying, just let people enjoy things, I don't let you enjoy anything. You shouldn't let a random girl on TikTok that you don't know validate what you do or don't enjoy. Again, not the conversation that we're having. We are in a critical thinking and intelligence epidemic. We all know that, we're aware of it. A lot of it is caused by social media, by TikTok, by shortened attention spans. This is why we need to champion the authors and the educators and the people with influence and impact who can encourage people to actually try to use their brains to develop and learn and push out good writing.
Saying like, it's not like she was trying to talk down on romance or romantasy, because she said herself that she was a fan of romantasy. And I would love a good romantasy, and I love romance. I love a lot of different genres. But what a thing that she was saying was that so much, especially in the last, let's say, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, there's always been trends, right? Like we had Twilight, then more people were writing vampire novels. Then we had a big dystopian era. And then obviously Fae have been really big for a long time, and people kind of credit Sarah Janet as like the person who really got this jump start on romantasy. And there are a lot of novels that kind of try to copy that story. I'm not saying word for word, but getting a lot of inspiration and ideas from the ACOTAR series. But what she was saying in her video was that so many things feel copy and paste now. Like, yes, it's a trend, but there are so many people, especially, again, I'm going to add in generative AI, although that is a newer thing, but there are people writing books with that bullshit. Or just everybody who is like, ooh, I see this thing is really popular now. And the more things keep getting published, whether that's independent and then they're picked up by a traditional publisher, or things getting published by a traditional publisher, they're like, ooh, this book is like mediocre, and it's about this same thing that 15 other books have come out about. There's a shadow daddy, there's a young girl who doesn't know the power that she yields, but is going to save the world. I can write that too. And it's like this vicious cycle of publishing that, other people seeing that. And so like it keeps being the thing that publishing is like, okay, people want it because people are buying it and reading it, or just, reading it on Kindle Unlimited. And then people see that and they're like, there's my quick fix to get money. So again, we can always blame things on capitalism because everybody's trying to make a quick buck, because we live in a world that everything costs ridiculous amounts of money, and it's not sustainable. So like, I get it. But then, so they see that and they're like, this is a quick way to make money. Someone's like, I turned my brain off when I read this, so I had a good time. Tells other people, they go do that. They're like, oh, I love to turn my brain off. And they read it. That book blows up. Even if it was independently published, a publisher picks it up. And then bam, now we have the 15th Shadow Daddy version of the same fucking book. And it's the king. Hold on. My husband is texting me. He said, do you like Halsey? Why are you asking me that? I don't think I've ever listened to any of Halsey's music. Let me see. I know who they are, but I don't think I've ever listened to any of their music. I don't know why he is asking me this. Is he trying to like make me a friend with one of his new co-workers' spouses? I don't know none of these songs. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see his response. Do you see this vicious cycle that I'm talking about? And again, there's differences, right? There's things that can be soapy, fun, lighthearted, not taking itself too seriously, but it's still like decently like actual prose, the structure of the story, word choices. It's actually edited, like it's actually decently written, if not well written. And maybe it's a silly, goofy, fun story, because we need those. And then there's things that are, this is a silly, goofy, trifling story, and it's poorly written with hella errors and hella typos, but they pushed it out and people ate it up because they turned their brains off. And then they're getting this massive publishing deal. Again, everyone does not deserve to get their book published. Publishing is not a human right. Just like, and again, I have some video about this, when these different companies who are trying to have AI publishing to make it accessible for everyone. And we can talk all the day long about how hard it is to get into publishing, especially if you were from a marginalized background. We could talk about that. However, that still does not mean that just because you want to write a story and you want to publish a story, that is your human right. No. So like, what do we do? I don't know. I think a big thing is stopping the like purchasing or reading these titles, but I don't think that's going to happen because again, there's a group of people who like this silly, goofy, whatever. I turn my brain off and I just read and I have a good time, and that's all that matters. I don't want anything deeper. I'm not looking further into it. I'm not thinking about anything beyond my enjoyment at the moment. And I'm not going to say they're like completely wrong for that. The world is a dumpster fire and people want to have a break to enjoy things. Like, I totally get it. I just don't know what other way besides like me taking over all the publishing companies, which like it kind of would be a good idea. But how we would solve this and change it up. So I do think, like, obviously at the end of the day, it is read what you want to read. You know, glad you're reading, but I will myself always encourage people to sometimes step outside of what you normally read. And that can mean so many things. That means if you normally read fantasy, try another genre. Or if you normally read adult, maybe you can try middle grade or young adult. You try a graphic novel, try a manga, try books from someone who's like completely different than you, they have a different religion that they practice, different nationality, different ethnicity, different sexuality. Like, just change it up here or there. Read a nonfiction if you only read fiction. Nobody is saying that you have to like police your reading and like keep a detailed Excel spreadsheet. And some people like to do that because they love stats, and that's no shade to them. But I'm saying it doesn't have to be as strict as some people like to make it out to be when people say that you should read diversely. And people are like, oh my God, this is so hard. No one's asking for your reports. They're just saying sometimes maybe look outside what you normally read. And there's just so many different things you can learn. Maybe you learn about a new culture, just someone else lived experience than obviously yours because you haven't experienced that. There's just so many, and you can learn this all from fiction too. I'm not just saying this is nonfiction. You can learn this all from fiction as well. I just also do encourage trying a nonfiction here and there, even if it's a memoir, or a more narrative nonfiction. We have to be open. And I can only hope that maybe in that way, if some people want to, dare to step outside of their comfort zone of the turn your brain off, easy to read kind of thing, then maybe we can not get back to a place where like publishing is actually publishing worthy novels, because there are like genuinely well-written novels that come out all the time. Obviously, it's not like I'm up to date reading everything that's coming out. At this moment, my brain doesn't even know how to read. We've forgotten. So again, people may not have liked your tone. I thought it was just like, bitches. So I didn't see any wrong with it, but also I generally, now I'm second guessing the words I'm saying. I generally don't disagree with her statement. So it didn't have me in my feelings. I don't have the answers, but I always love to talk about it and see what your thoughts are. Because I think there's so many more things that are connected and less like than we think. Like, all of these things just don't stand alone. Like our literacy crisis, and because there are a lot of functional illiterate people. Because there's some people who can literally read the words on the page, but can't really understand what they mean, can't summarize, can't infer from that. So like those things, book industry, what people like to read, the rise of these really copy paste, I want to say low effort. That's rude. I know writing is hard. Well, for some people really put no effort into it. So like, I don't think these things don't all like exist separately. We've got it's a circle. We've got a Venn diagram, and we've got some overlappage there. And I know just telling people to read better books, for lack of a better phrase, is not the answer, or not the only answer. There's multiple problems. So we need, let me get my corporate bag, a multi-pronged solution. Anyway, tell me your thoughts down below. You think if you have a plan 5, 10, 15-step plan. Love to know down below, but just keep it cute and respectful. That's all I ask of you. You can disagree, but you just got to be nice about it. So that's so hard. So that's it for me. My life is chaotic at the moment, obviously. Don't have a home yet. And will be without a home for a bit more. So you may be getting some more of this beautiful background. Then it might change. Then it might change again. Who knows? You will know if you watch the next videos. So what else do I have? Oh, at the time of filming this video, January 20th, Tuesday, there's only one spot left on the Iceland trip. So by the time I edit this, girl, I don't know when that's going to be. It might be sold out. Once it does sell out, you can add yourself to the wait list if sadness, happens and somebody has to drop out. But also if Iceland is not your vibe, did I say Iceland? I already feel like I said something else. If Iceland is not your vibe and you want to look towards the holiday season in December, there are 5, 6 spots left for the Christmas markets. The information is down below if you want to check those out. But that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturize, and sunscreen. And especially if you're in a colder climate. I am cold now. Put on that damn moisturizer. And it's gray outside, but I still put on my sunscreen. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.